2% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't live the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get punked, and some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia, AB skinheads with big giant swastikas, pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in they Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damus, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the Hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters gon' move. Whatever click you choose, you better
Say, what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. You're down. Now, for those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. Yeah, that's me gassing on that intro song. And if you want to get that song, hit me up on my email, 16tolifemusic@gmail.com. And I'm going to give you information to get it, man. Now, let's hop into this story. Yeah, that's right. I got a story for y'all, man. And I'm going to be talking about, can a dude switch cars in prison, right? And actually, I got a couple of stories. I'm going to give y'all one right now, right? And then I'll probably hit y'all with the other one later, right? But this story is right here about my homeboy, I guess we'll say, right? A dude, BR. I done told a couple stories about BR, man. I think one of the stories I told was called He Had the Heart of a Gunslinger. And I done told another one or a couple of them. But when I do these stories, I just, of course, you know, when things happen in prison, they don't come with a title. So I just make up a title after I do the story, right? And so the initial stories that I done on BR was probably 3 or 4 years ago, right? And so I don't necessarily remember all the titles that when I come up with a title off the head or whatever, right? But so it starts off how I met BR. I met BR in 1989. I met BR in the Riverside County Juvenile Hall system, right? I had went to the Riverside County Juvenile Hall. I had hit a dude in the head with a baseball bat, right? And so the name of that story is called Bats Aren't Always Used for Baseballs or something like that, right? So I come to find out some owners of a liquor store jumped my dad. My dad is at the hospital. He calls me, tells me to go up there and basically just secure his house because one of my homie's mothers escorted him home, and she used to use drugs, and he wasn't too comfortable with her being there. So in the course of going from my mom's house to my dad's house, I have to pass this liquor store. Long story short, I hit the dude in the head with a wooden baseball bat, knock him down. He hop up hollering, "Invention, get invention, good invention, go get my pistol, go get my pistol." And so, of course, I take off running and all this old type of stuff. The police come to the house. My next door neighbor was right there. He must have told him or something. In the course of that, the bat hit his car, and he anyway, the policeman, I look up, the police is knocking on my door. I tell the homie's mom, don't let him in. They calling my name. I said, damn, it sound like they close. I step out in the hallway, and they right there. They arrest me, take me to the to county jail and some more shit. Riverside County, Juvenile Hall, right, and some more shit. So while I'm in there, initially I'm charged with a felony for hitting the dude in the head with a baseball bat. So I'm back there where they got the kids that are charged with felonies. And this is when I happened to run across BR. Now, at the time, BR is in there for a murder case. So I guess him and his uncle had robbed somebody for some Daytons or whatever, right? And so at that time, he was in there facing some serious charges. Now, this is 1989, right? So now when I go to court, they end up dropping my charge down to a misdemeanor. or whatever. And then so at that point in time, I'm in a section where everybody up in there, we're in cell living. So once my case gets dropped down to a misdemeanor, they move me to another section, and it's dorm living, right? I had a couple homies up in there. My homie Scotty Ware, rest in peace, and the homie Zaydog was also up in there, right? And so from there, I stayed up in there another 30 days or whatever. I go home, I get probation. This is 1989, right? Actually, I get out on August 9th, a couple of days after I had turned 18, right? So I stay out for a while, and I end up going to the pen in 1996. I'm in Salinas Valley, right? At this time, my cellie is a Big H, Heron. Every time I say that, man, people think I'm talking about, or some people think I'm talking about the Heron that used to run with Death Row, the Damu. No, this dude was a Crip from the Grandies, Compton Crip from the Grandies, Big H, rest in peace, right? And so, now, at some point in time when we go into child or whatever, I happen to see this dude and I'm looking at him like, man, I know this dude from somewhere, right? And come to find out, it was BR. BR had been locked up that whole entire time from 89 until I bumped into him in 86, until I bumped into him in 96 in Salinas Valley. He had ended up getting a life sentence for that case that he was charged with, right? So we talked a little bit, whatever. So a day or two later, we back in the chow hall, right? So now as I'm sitting there at the chow hall, me and Big H, BR comes walking up to the table. You can see he got something on his mind. He looking serious, right? So he comes up to the table. He approaches the dude that's sitting right next to me. He says, so what's up, Kurt? So I'm a bitch, huh? You say I'm a bitch, Kurt? As soon as the dude, Kurt, tried to stand up, BR got off on him. Pop, pop! Gave him a cold two-piece, no soda, you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, they go to squabbing, but now by the dude already sitting down, of course, BR had the advantage. Now, BR, you know what I'm saying? He on top of him, so he's on him. Boop, bop, bop, bop. The guards run over there, break it up. Now, I failed to mention, at this particular time, and when I ran across BR in the county, in the juvenile hall, BR was claiming to be a blood from Compton, even though he had called his case in a city called Paris, which is located in Riverside County. So when I run across him at Salinas, I don't question him as far as his affiliation because I already remember that he's a blood from Compton. Now, the dude who he fired on, Kurt was a Crip from Compton, right? So after he get off on him, poop pop, they go to squab and the police hurry up and run up over there. That was the last time I had seen Kurt. And I don't run across BR until, so this was 96. I don't run across BR again until, I want to say maybe 2008, 2009. I don't know exactly when it was, right? I run across BR at CMC East, right? Maybe it may have been around 2008. It happened to be another dude on the yard, a young dude, right? And this dude, the young dude was probably about 20, 21, 22, and had a propensity for telling lies and so on and so forth, right? So word gets out now among the homies in the IE car that there's a new homie from IE that didn't pulled up, right? And so the youngster who happened to be from Paris as well, I guess he went over there and talked to the dude. Then he came back. And he was like, oh, yeah, that's my homie. That's my big homie, BR, right? So now at that point in time, I don't know. I can't recall what BR was going by in juvenile hall, right? I don't know if it was BR or whatever, but when the dude from Paris said his name, it didn't register with me, right? And so when they released the dude in a day or two and he hit the yard, I'm looking at him. I'm like, man, that's the old boy that I was in juvenile hall with that fired on the dude up there at Salinas, right? So now suddenly he's claiming he's from IE, right? Because Paris is located within the Inland Empire, right? Now to keep it 100, I never did ask the dude why he chose to stop claiming Compton and start claiming IE, right? Now, when we was in juvenile hall, dudes was younger back then, and a lot of times they would be clowning BR, right? Dudes that was locked up in that same little area where we all had the cells when they would let us out for, the times we could come out and watch TV and go, go have PE and do whatever we do, a lot of them will be clowning him because they were saying that nobody wasn't coming to visit him, just clowning. How dudes be clowning back and forth, telling jokes up in their bagging or whatever. And then a couple of dudes was clowning, telling him that he really wasn't from Compton, and he had an uncle, I believe, who was from Compton, but he was not from Compton. And so that's what they was clowning him about. Right now, I don't know. I know at times, to keep it 100, I have ran across individuals who are not from Los Angeles, not from the LA area gangs, they claim, right? And I've always wondered, why would dudes claim somewhere they're not from, right? And the best answer that I can come up with is, I guess, due to the gangs they want to claim are from LA and they're more well known, especially at that time, than some of the Riverside or some of the San Bernardino area gangs. I guess they feel that claiming some of these bigger known Crip or Blood gangs will make them look more official. You know what I'm saying? And so makes their Crippin' or Bloodin' look more authentic. That's the only thing that I can come up with. I don't know, right? So when BR hits the yard, like I said, I'm looking at him. We go to talking. I'm like, man, you was at Salinas, right? And he's like, yeah. I said, remember me, homie? We was talking and we was in juvenile hall together. And, he's like, yeah. So we go to talking, so on and so forth, right? And so, like I said, I never did ask BR what made him switch from, claiming a Compton blood to suddenly claiming IE. Now, who knows, right? Now, when I was thinking about this story, maybe it had something to do with that situation that happened in the chow hall in Salinas. But then again, who knows? Because once again, the dude he punched was a Compton Crip, right? And so at that time, or at least in juvenile hall, he was repping being a blood from Compton. So I have no idea, man, what made him go through that change or whatever, right? And I don't know who all knew, right? So, fast forward now, 2018, I get released. Fast forward again till about 2020, 2021, maybe 2022, I don't know exactly. I'm out in Bannon at a homeless encampment. Me and my partner, we done went and got a gang of pizzas, and I'm passing out pizzas to all these dudes down here in this homeless encampment, right? So then some other dude comes up to me, a Mexican dude. He's like, oh, man, you chill, you eat chill. And he starts, talking, so on and so forth. He said, man, my uncle know you, man. My uncle is out. And I'm like, who is your uncle? And he says, now keep in mind, this dude is a Mexican dude, right? And he says, BR. And he calls the dude by his real name. I'm like, that's your uncle? He like, yeah. I'm like, man, he out? He like, oh, yeah, man, he out. I said, how long he been out? He said he had been out a couple months, so on and so forth. Matter of fact, at the time when all this is going on, I just so happened to be live on my YouTube channel, right? So all this has been recorded, it got recorded during that live, right? So I told him, hey, man, let me holler at you when I finish doing this. Be sure not to go nowhere. I want to get BR's phone number, right? So after I finished passing out the pizzas, I went and found him. I got BR's phone number, and me and BR actually, we hollered a time or two, and we met up a couple of times, man. And we supposed to hang out, this and that. But unfortunately, man, BR, if you guys happen to run across some of them stories I told, or if you remember some of the stories I told, the dude had an innate case of the slickness. The dude was, man, it was like the dude was born to be slick, and he just could not help himself, man. The dude could not help himself. This dude was taking chances, man. Matter of fact, I think that's one of the titles that I named the story. The man took chances no other man would. This dude was in there being slick, taking penitentiary chances, man, that could have got his life took in a heartbeat. And so from the time that I first met him in juvenile hall until the time they had let him out, he had done probably about 32, 33 years. Like I said, man, he had came, or if I didn't mention, he had came in at the age of 17. And unfortunately for him, he still had the sickness of a super case of the slickness. Running around, man, doing this, doing that. And the last I seen, he had got locked back up. He's been locked back up several times since I first ran across him in 2022 or whenever it was. And the next story that I'm going to tell you guys a little later, which is along similar lines, is about this gang member, right? He definitely was with the business, no question about that, 100%. And also, no question about this, 100%. He had the most disrespectful gang banging tattoo that I had ever seen. I was going to say that I had ever seen in prison, but probably that I've ever seen in my life in terms of Crip and Blood tattoos. This dude had an extremely disrespectful tattoo, right? And that's as far as I'm gonna go on that, because if I say too much about it, then of course a lot of individuals gonna know who I'm talking about. And like I said, by me just saying he probably had the most disrespectful tattoo that I ever seen, some individuals who seen that tattoo might just think I'm talking about him anyway. But I'm gonna talk about how this dude was really, at times he was extremely turned up. When it came time to be turned up, he definitely was with the business. And come to find out, he was banging a whole different color rag in prison. Anyway, y'all already know what it is. It's your boy 16 to life. Resume normal program.